This time on MegaTruckers.
Don't ever say Australians.
Two drivers go to war.
Bro, stop going on about Kiwi. I'm a Kiwi, bro. Get over it.
And threaten to derail a monster move.
I think he's a bit dropped at birth, to be honest, but
He's a bit of a sook. He'll harden up.
Boss John lays down the law
If Wayne and Keith can't get on, one of them has to go.
and hopes an old truck can save the day.
John's brought the deadline forward, just trying to get everything done that he wants done to his standard. We put a lot of effort and time into this thing, so if he gets here and he's not happy, we're not going to be very impressed.
This is a love story, a romance between a man and his trucks.
Some people love their cars, some people love boats, some people love highfalutin women. I just love my trucks. And my wife, of course. Loving trucks has cost a lot of people a lot of money, a lot of marriages. You can go through 20 different marriages and still walk out and go touch your truck. It's just one of those things, it's a disease.
Boss John Kelly's passion goes beyond his working fleet. He also has a multi-million-dollar collection of vintage trucks, purely for show.
My wife, Joanne, says, "What are you doing, John? Collecting dust collectors." And I said, "Oh, that's exactly what I'm doing." We've got the Lone Ranger, which is a 1989 Mack Superliner. Now, that's one of the very first trucks I bought. We've got Mini-Me. That was modelled off our big award-winning Mack Titan called Gangster's Paradise. And then we've got the big 359 Peterbilt, the Majestic. I ventured halfway across the world to find that truck. That truck is the jewel of the Nile. Finally, we've got the Gold Digger. That's got a bit of a soft spot in my heart, that truck. I remember going to Mack Trucks with my grandfather, and it was sitting there just shining its head off. The dust collectors don't go out on jobs. They only go to truck shows to look cool.
But with business booming, Boss John may soon be forced to change his tune. Drivers come from far and wide, hoping to get their hands on one of these superstar rigs.
when I first come over from NZ, a friend brought me up here and showed me them. And I thought, yeah, these things are the deal. That's just how I knew I wanted to come and drive for John Kelly.
For the past 10 months, driver Wayne has been slogging away on John Kelly's MegaTrucker training ground.
It's not often that a worker will come and hound you, and I'm talking hound you, saying, John, when can I get off these bloody coal wagons? They're driving me mad. I know I've got to prove myself, but I want to get out and do some big jobs.
Hello?
Yeah, Wayne, can you come and see me, please?
Might have done something wrong, who knows? Hey, mate.
Come for a walk. What do you reckon about being a floor, mate?
Bit of gear.
As of 3 minutes ago, it's yours.
Rainbow. Thank you, bud.
You scratch it, you own it.
I'll look after it like it's mine, mate.
Wayne is now the proud driver of Chrome Monster Bandit 4. His promotion, a reward for proving himself hauling coal wagons.
He's not exactly anywhere near the A team at the moment. He's gone from the Z team probably to a solid D, but that's progression.
I've always wanted this truck. I've asked him for a while and he kind of shut me down and said, don't be stupid.
Designed and built to tackle the tough Australian terrain, this Kenworth T908 is match-made for mega-trucking. An inline six-cylinder engine pumps out 620 horsepower. Even though it was new when he bought it, John splashed $100,000 on bling. It makes the mighty Bandit 4 one of the most expensive in the fleet.
A few raised eyebrows on why Wayne's got that new truck, so he better not put 1 foot wrong and stuff this up.
Wayne's first job in Bandit 4 will be one to remember. He'll be part of a mega convoy, hauling a giant excavator in 4 parts.
The machine together is just under 400 tonnes, so it's a very, very big machine.
But his toughest challenge might be the man in charge.
Keith Jones recently been promoted to a platform operator. Keith's a very, very passionate person, very passionate operator. We're sending Wayne up there as well. I know there's always a bit of friction between Wayne and Keith.
I don't really think he's a heavy haulage operator. It's not all about the bling.
So So we've got EX3600 to move, 400 tonne, 8 789 cat dump trucks, 6 D11Ts, and then there's 4 road trains out of Toowoomba to go to Coppabella.
Righto. So cancel the holidays for June?
Just book yourself out for the next 20 years.
Boss John Kelly is so busy, he's run out of trucks. He does have this old Mack V8 value liner. 4 weeks ago, he commissioned a $70,000 makeover. But this classic won't be ready for another few days. So John's about to break a golden rule for an urgent job.
When the boys from operations come down and say, listen, we've got a bit of a jam, we're short a truck on the TBM move, and we need something with a big rating that's going to do the job, I thought, well, have I got a truck for you?
In 1987, you couldn't buy a bigger truck than this Mack Superliner. With 500 horsepower and a 16.4 litre V8 engine, it can pull 200 tonnes. It's such an iconic truck. When John dropped the cool 50 grand restoring it, he kept the original gold colour scheme.
There are occasions when we're off the charts busy and we have to drag the dust collectors out of the shed and onto the street. And this occasion with the gold digger is one of those occasions. The plans were sort of flicked into motion there. The gold digger was reborn.
Putting an old truck in the firing line is a big risk.
My concern is it going to be okay? Is it going to survive? Are we going to be broken down on the side of the road for 6 hours trying to fix a simple issue because the truck hasn't been driven in such a long time?
6 a.m. on the excavator move, and the friction Boss John predicted is about to erupt.
When I heard Wayne was on the job, I thought this is a bit of extra work for the other boys because Wayne doesn't like to get his hands too dirty.
On this job, Keith is Wayne's boss.
Keith. I've had a few issues with Keith.
Unless you're prepared to get your hands dirty, you might as well just go run up and down the highway and cart a fridge van.
I really think he must have just been a schoolyard bully. I think he's one of those fellas that would go and steal your lunch, pick on you.
Probably not a bully, I just speak honestly. Some people don't like the honest truth. If someone's going to stand around and do nothing and they're getting paid the same money as us, well, of course I'm going to say something to them.
Also on this job are veteran drivers Fredo and Keith's dad, Bevan. All 4 must pull together if they're to deliver a giant excavator 700 kilometres to a mine site.
You're working in remote Western Queensland where the roads are 5.5, 6 metres wide. You're nearly 8 metres wide. We've got narrow bridges to go across with minimal clearance. We've got deadlines to meet. There's 101 things that can go wrong in this move.
It'll be a tough job, not helped by a war of words.
Wayne started bagging Australians on that morning and I sort of got my back up because, you know, Australia's my home country and I love Australia with a passion.
Got to come over here and help these Aussies do the job, you know? If it wasn't for, if they weren't doing the job, probably wouldn't have to come over. It's quite simple, isn't it?
On the job, there's probably a host of advice I give to Wayne. You shut your mouth and do as you're told.
Some Aussies do have a problem with Kiwis coming over here, taking their jobs, taking their money, taking their women.
Don't ever say Australians.
Bro, stop going on about Kiwi. I'm a Kiwi, bro. Get over it. Deal with it.
Bagging Australia to probably the most patriotic Australian in Keith, who's probably about 200 kilos in the shade, and that would tear you limb from limb without a blink of an eye.
Wayne and I can't even get out of the yard without having an argument. It's going to be a long f***ing 3 days.
Boss John starts a trip down memory lane in one of his prized dust collectors, the gold digger.
Yep, all right, we'll just be on channel 11.
Yep.
Yep, cool.
He'll be hauling part of a gigantic tunnel boring machine. It's a $2 million contract split into 140 mega moves.
This is the maiden voyage for the gold digger, which is a bit nerving. Is it going to be okay? Is it going to survive?
A hefty 80 tonnes sits on the back of this grand old girl.
Even on moving something this large on a move like this tonight, to put even one of the modern trucks to the test. She plays a sweet tune, this old truck, that's for sure. You can't buy that sound.
I know. Can't be driving that properly because I can't hear it.
You just be quiet up there, all right? Everyone loves a V8. My theory is if you put a muffler on a V8, you're a sook.
Ahead is a 68-kilometre journey to a construction site.
It's amazing, 24 years later we're belting on down the highway here and it's still making its living, you know, that's pretty cool.
Back in the yard, the battle of the Tasman between drivers Wayne and Keith explodes.
He's always had a little bit of a niggle with Kiwis and Aussies, and I suppose after a while you just get sick and tired of it.
Don't bag Australia.
Bro, don't bag New Zealand.
Well, it sucks.
Bro, and this way, hey? Oh, stop bagging New
It's so
Zealand, bro.
great. How come there's so many of you here? It's so great.
If you don't like it, you can just off back to New Zealand.
Don't bag the country to speak New Zealand.
Yeah, bro.
Don't bag the country to speak
Bro,
New Zealand.
if you want to do it, if you can dish it, take it, Pugsley. Take it.
Like, if it did come to a blue at the end of the day,
Bro, don't
you'd want to make the first one a good one and then run like shit for the second one.
Sort of pointing fingers and yelling at each other, and I thought, yeah, this is going to be a lovely old trip.
It's hard to believe these drivers will spend the next 3 days on the road together.
It's f***ing terrible. We just had a verbal argument. He said he was wanting to knock my head off my shoulders, so I told him to go ahead.
He's over here working our jobs, getting our money, and then bagging Australians at the same time. Well, you don't like it. Go back where you come from, as far as I'm concerned.
I guess we dropped at birth, to be honest, but, well, you know, we can't do anything about it. We're here to stay. I'm not going home because of Pugsley.
He's a bit of a sook. He'll hearten up a bit.
Best way to sort it out is just on the side of the road somewhere to go. An argument in the morning was about me turning up in jandals to work before I put my boots on. And he had an issue that I called them jandals and I had to call them thongs because I was an Aussie, so as far as I'm concerned, I'm a Kiwi, and if I want to call the f***ing things jandals, I will.
The drivers' fight threatens to derail a giant excavator move.
As far as I'm concerned, they can leave their 2-year-old antics in the sandpit where it belongs because they need to act their age, not their shoe size. If Wayne and Keith can't get on, one of them has to go.
Boss John Kelly has dusted off one of his prize show trucks. It's the gold digger's first job in more than 20 years, and John is like a nervous new parent.
So we're just going to pull up here and check all the chains, check the load. Been a virgin trip for the truck as well. We'll get out and sort of just have a look around the engine and the diffs and the gearbox, make sure there's no oil leaks or anything that sticks out, because when something goes wrong, it's a bit too late. When I was younger, I saw that actual truck in the showroom at Mac Trucks looking $1 million and never thought in my wildest dreams that it'd be in the HHA stable. Every time I look at that truck, I think about my childhood and my grandfather, and it's a pretty special truck.
But tonight, there's just one thing likely to rain on John's parade.
It's killing me, you know. You can't go out on your first virgin run and have dirty chrome rims. Not for the first run anyway.
700 kilometres north, and the MegaTruckers load the giant excavator in 4 parts. Weighing 360 tonnes, it's 8 metres wide and 5 metres high.
Fred and I got the 2 bigger pieces on, Dad and Wayne got the 2 smaller pieces on.
The warring drivers have calmed down, but Keith has a bigger worry on his first supervisor job. Boss John breathing down his neck.
John expects you to perform and puts a lot of pressure on you at times.
Keith and I have had words on a few levels in the past, but his heart and soul's in the job.
John and I probably have a love-hate relationship. Some days I just want to murder him, punch his lights out, then other days he's not too bad.
The MegaTruckers are keen to get going, but they can't move until the police sign off. And that takes time. Perhaps a little flirting will speed things up.
My proper name's Ian.
What's your truck name?
But everybody calls me Freddo.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, like in the frog.
I don't need supervision, Jared. Go away.
I just want to ask her a question, please.
Yeah, no, you don't want to ask her any questions. He probably wants your phone number or something.
10-4, mate, we're all good.
Paperwork done, this convoy can finally hit the road.
All we've got to do now is get this from here to the other end safely. We've got a few complications, a few bridge crossings and things like that, but it should be a full-on day.
The challenge is to haul an 8-metre wide load on roads that are only 6 metres wide.
You've got to be on the ball 100% all of the time. Otherwise, if you lose your concentration for a split second, that's when accidents can happen. You hit things, hit cars.
In Brisbane, John and the gold digger are moments from glory.
It was one of those nights where everything went off without a hitch. That truck was operating like a Swiss clock. It was just perfect. I'll always remember that first delivery.
He looked after his trucks. Well, you boys do, I should say.
That's it. The first guy that came up to me just goes, Jesus, this John Kelly bloke's got some nice gear, hasn't he? I've gone, oh, yeah. He goes, oh, what's he like to work for? I said, he's a prick. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, how you going? He goes, I'm Tim. Oh, yeah, how you going? I'm John Kelly. And he nearly shit himself. This is the most important part of the job, mate, getting paid.
Gee whiz, you got to pay for the paint job somewhere.
Finally, we're converting a dust collector into a money earner, so it's good times.
This old truck has put in a faultless performance. Job done. But Boss John's trip down memory lane stirs the emotions.
Money can't buy the feeling of reliving your childhood. There's no way in the world that truck's going to get put away. It sparked a lot of good memories, and that's pretty rare. So it'll be out on future jobs for sure.
On the excavator move, the MegaTrucker convoy is about to grind to a halt.
Lead pilot will call out like the narrow bridge and we'll generally come to a stop. We get out and assess whether anything's been changed on the bridge crossings, you know, whether they put any new barriers or anything like that.
The tracks are too wide for the bridge.
The only way to get across is to lift one track and just go straight over the side of it. Took the side out of the bridge, it'd be complete chaos. You'd block the whole beef road, all the mining traffic, everything for hours.
The trailers can be lifted, but only by centimetres. Old hand Fredo raises one side, then everyone hopes like hell it's enough to clear the guardrail.
It causes a bit of a delay in the job, but only one way to get through, mate, that's the only way to do it. No matter how much work goes into it, you know, there's always that thought in the back of your head, if you do clip the bridge or hit the bridge, it's going to be one hell of a up.
Yeah, keep going down on there.
You'd block the whole beef road, all the mining traffic, everything for hours, and it'd be just complete drama.
With one side jacked up, Fredo makes it with just centimetres to spare. But it's a 45-minute delay.
It's a hell of a relief. They got through clear, nothing's been hit, nothing's been damaged. We're on our way again.
But 10 kilometres down the road, it's another setback, a flat tyre.
This is Keith's first trip as a supervisor, and things aren't quite going to plan. Is it that inside one with the wall chopped out of it?
We've only got about 8 hours of daylight left to get this load there. The last thing we needed was a flat tyre, but shit happens, we've got to get on with it now, make them all.
It's Keith's trailer, but Fredo changes the tyre.
You have a look at the size of Keith. He's a wheel chock, and I'm a tyre changer. He probably won't like me saying that.
With 140 tonnes sitting on the trailer, you're sitting under there, of course, it's always in the back of your mind. So you get the job done as quick as you can, put the wheel nuts back on and get out of there.
He's a big, strong bloke, you know what they say about them? Can lift heavy things, but yeah, not real smart.
While the tyre is changed, Wayne gets some fatherly advice in his war of words with Keith.
You got to just be able to have that disagreement and move on.
Yeah, I think it's just an Aussie Kiwi thing, you know? It's never going to stop. Very, very confused. Bevan's a really nice guy, so maybe Keith was adopted. I do think Australia is a 10 times better place than New Zealand, but I would never tell him that.
In Brisbane, Boss John is on his way to see his vintage Mac after its $70,000 makeover. Desperate for another working truck, John gave the restorers just 4 weeks to revamp the old Mac.
It's looking pretty rough under there, but to get it up to our sort of standard, it's going to take a fair bit of work.
It's the reason why it's here.
He's got to be joking. This is a piece of shit.
You know, I've dedicated this truck to my late grandfather, who was a massive inspiration in my life. Old Frank was an absolute legend of the highway, and I want to make sure that this truck is a fitting tribute.
He's now 30 minutes away from seeing whether they've delivered.
Nick, where are you up to now?
The mud flaps on the front here left to go. The passenger seat, it's just got to go in. We've got the left-hand exhaust shroud. The hubcaps, nut covers.
Yep, probably got about half our tops, so just need to get it cranking, basically.
It's a pretty big deal to do a full refurbishment for 4 weeks. I need the truck for work. I've given Steve a list of extras as long as your arm to go on this truck. So I'm hoping he's ticked all those boxes, otherwise he's going to be working there till late, making sure it's all done.
The reason we're cutting so fine is just John's brought the deadline forward. Just trying to get everything done that he wants done to his standard in no time at all, so all hands on deck.
Worst case scenario is I don't like it and the boys have to go and repaint it.
Just on the final stretch, you know, last few parts to go on, the guys just waxing everything, cleaning everything, just make sure everything looks sweet. No last minute hidden surprises anywhere. It's done, they're looking good, Craig. We put a lot of effort and time into this thing, so if he gets here and he's not happy, we're not going to be very impressed.
On the excavator move, the MegaTruckers are back on the road after the flat tyre. The delays weigh heavily on first-time supervisor Keith.
We had to be on the ball all day. There was a lot of stopping and starting and very draining day.
Finally, the convoy arrives at the Copperbella coal mine, an hour before sunset.
Another successful mission completed. The digger's on site. The boys are putting it together as we speak.
I felt like I'd proved myself to John that we could do the job, and we got the job done in a very tight period. We didn't ring up yelling and screaming, so that's a fair indication that we got the job done without a hitch.
Didn't have any hiccups, so I hope John can recognise that and slowly move us up the ranks.
Wayne did really good. We congratulated him, shook his hand and said, yeah, good job, Wayne. That's his first time out with us.
It seems even the sparring partners are now at peace.
He pulled his head in and come done the job, and he done a good job.
In Brisbane, John's about to see the revamped vintage Mac dedicated to his late grandfather.
It's all ready to rock and roll, mate.
Really?
Yeah.
Hearts that are in your mouth, like it's like, oh, is he going to like this or is he going to not like it?
Mate, I'd normally say it looks $1 million, but I reckon it looks $2 million. You've excelled yourself, mate.
You had me worried for a second. John loves the truck, so I'm just stoked.
Mate, I'm sure it never looked that good even when it was on the factory showroom floor.
No, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm really happy with the end result. It's turned out awesome. I'm surprised we've got it all done realistically.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate it.
Cool.
Everyone believes in love at first sight. Well, that's what happened when I met Joanne, and the second time was when that truck was unveiled. In love with it from the bull bar to the rear taillight bar. The boys have done an absolutely ecstatic job, pretty emotional. It's definitely a fitting tribute. Couldn't be happier.
But there's one final twist in this love story.
To show how happy I am, I've actually quarantined the truck. It's not allowed to go to work for another couple of weeks. We've got a truck show coming up, and so hopefully the big breaker on its Virgin Truck Show gets to win a trophy. Until I can put one on the dash and say she's chalked up one, it'll stay in the shed, and I might even use it just as my company car to get to and from work.
This time on MegaTruckers, a young gun tackles an epic move.
It's huge.
If something goes wrong, it's all on my head.
You break down in the middle of nowhere, you'll be dead within 48 hours.
But could it end up costing boss John big time?
How'd we go? Not good. Don't know what's going on yet. He's taking photos of it and he looked me licensing, so it can't be good.
The final stage of a $2 million job. The pressure's on.
It's absolutely critical that we do this TBM move successfully. There's no room for f***ups, none whatsoever.
And then the boss turns up unannounced.
Don't try and make me look like a f***wit. Well, you may as well get in your truck and f*** off.
And dealing with bureaucracy, the John Kelly way.
You got about 3 minutes to clear all the shit off the road.
Can't do anything about it at the moment.
Dave, come down here, block the whole show up, we're going through. As HHA grows, it becomes more difficult to manage and run. We're one of the biggest privately owned heavy haulage companies here in Australia now. As a result, I've got to run the best equipment and I've got to hire the best of the best operators. It's a pursuit of perfection.
But boss John Kelly's drive for perfection doesn't always go down well with his MegaTruckers.
John Kelly puts a whole new meaning to micromanage. I think they put that in the dictionary
Poor John Kelly.
Can you move the ute?
Always gives you a hard time. If it's not right, he pours you an arse over it.
So you're saying there's 475s and 450s on this trailer?
Just like on the ute.
We're all expected to do 120% all the time. He knows his shit. However, he's got the personality of a house brick some days.
Sure it's 158?
Well, that's what he told me on the plan.
Well, go and double check.
That's just John Kelly's nature. He's got to be the best at what he does, and good luck to him.
One person who knows John only too well is head driver Dave.
Dave's been with me, over 7 years now. He's the longest standing employee here. He's number one in the food chain. I've got a lot of respect for Dave, but that doesn't mean we don't blue like cats and dogs.
How we haven't punched one another yet, I don't know.
He's a great operator, very methodical in his thinking, and I'm just that conscience taps him on the shoulder every now and then he needs to be pulled in the line.
It's an ongoing battle, mate.
Over the past 2 months, Dave's been in charge of moving a mammoth 2,000-tonne tunnel boring machine. It's a $2 million job, with another in the offing, if the first one goes without a hitch. It's up to Dave and pilot driver Gary to make sure it does.
It's absolutely critical that we do this TBM move successfully and incident-free. For us to be in there with the chance to get the second one, I mean, there's no room for f***ups. None whatsoever.
The tunnel boring machine is so big, the MegaTruckers must haul it in 140 moves. Tonight, it's one of the final pieces, the fish belly gantry. At only 40 tonnes, weight isn't the problem. Width and height can be a nightmare for MegaTruckers, and this monster measures a giant 8.7 metres wide, 6 metres high and 20 metres long. Step one is the reverse.
You guys that are down on the ground, you've got 110% confidence in them that they're not going to back you in one of the cans, one of its staunchings that it's sitting on.
As a pilot driver, we're the eyes and ears for the drivers, only for the simple fact that they can't see anything behind them in the tight places.
You only got to come over that much and it'll be in the centre. Yeah, that one.
To hit that gantry, potential for it to fall over, I don't think we get another look in, mate, if something like that happened. If we get this wrong, all hell's going to break loose.
2,000 kilometres south, young gun driver Ryan faces his own challenge.
There's a digger there. Shit, it's a big one. It's huge. Yeah, it's a freaking fair sort of machine, actually.
At 24, Ryan is the youngest mega trucker in Australia. But that didn't stop John giving him a job that would test a veteran.
Ryan has been here nearly 4 years now, and he would be probably one of the most diverse operators we have. He wants to be a big, tough trucker, but at the end of the day, he's just a young teddy bear at heart. He's got a good head on him. I'm not scared about chucking him in the deep end. There's a lot more senior operators that I've been a bit more scared of chucking on big jobs, and that's a massive feather in Ryan's cap for me to say that I'd sooner send the young gun out to do some of these bigger jobs than some of our older, experienced guys.
This 80-tonne excavator must be shifted almost the entire length of Australia, 3,800 kilometres, from the port of Melbourne to a mine near Darwin. Ryan's mission is to get it there in one piece, ready for work in just 8 days. Making it even harder, Ryan will be the only mega trucker for the entire epic journey.
You've got to be a jack of all trades with this job. You've got to be able to operate the machine, operate the float, be a trailerman.
Got to be one of the biggest moves he's done in distance-wise. He's doing it unsupervised. It's a tyranny of distance out there. You break down in the middle of nowhere, you'll be dead within 48 hours.
In Brisbane, driver Dave is edging his 4-metre wide trailer into the belly of the gantry.
Tolerances aren't a great deal. You're talking literally inches either side of the cans.
Pilot Gary guides him in.
One mistake and you could get very punished for it.
Gary's a team player. He understands the consequences if something does go wrong. Last thing I want is that little bucket to get squashed or injured, that's for sure.
Bit of a juggling act to get it in there, but it's in there, so
Make sure the shit's tight, mate. Always have a few extra lashings holding the load back. Or if you ever need to hit the f***ing brakes for a big hurry, mate, that it's not going to come eat you up the front, so... Nothing like it when a plan comes together. Mate, I'm that excited I could just shit my hands and clap, I could.
2:30 a.m. in Melbourne, and Ryan meets his pilot driver, Kerry.
Oh, best iced coffee in Australia.
Good advertisement. Generally, within the first half an hour of working with someone new as a pilot, you can generally tell how they are and if they know what they're doing. Wow, but it's slowed up. What else would you be? It's all based on trust. You're in charge of the load and they're in charge of everything. You know, they're in charge of traffic, where it's going to go, how it's going to react. These blokes, you know, are pretty switched on and they know their way around Melbourne, so that's the main thing.
Yeah. First challenge is to get this 5.5 metre high excavator under the city's low-hanging web of tram lines.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. If you do come across a low wire or a low bridge, you have got time to resolve the problem rather than block up half of Melbourne. It's the first tram line here. We'll back it right off here.
Clearly go through. Yeah, mate, no worries. That little camping.
It's better to go slow. Just crawl along at my comfortable pace. So if something does go wrong, I can stop in a hurry. You're relying 150% on the ground crew to watch. You know, there's only so much you can see in your mirrors. What a spider web.
A tall metal load and high voltage tram lines make for a tense city crossing.
It's like a high stakes game of limbo under those train lines. If you arc them out, you arc all Melbourne out and you're out of the game. Moving nice and gently. Thanks, mate. Have a good night, eh? I feel totally relieved once I was through Melbourne tram line.
In Brisbane, Dave and Gary are about to hit the road when there's an unexpected arrival.
Yeah, no, I've seen John turn up. He's here for the whole night by the looks of it.
Him turning up puts a lot of pressure on some of the guys on the night.
I'm a perfectionist. While these guys might do it 98% perfect, that 2% is the difference between being world beaters and being average.
Look, if I'm going to be in charge of a job, mate, I like to be in charge of it. By all means, come and say something to me. Don't try and make me look like a wit. Well, you may as well get in your truck and off.
Pieces of a huge tunnel boring machine. It's a $2 million contract with another in the offing, if tonight goes without a hitch. Project leader Dave's feeling the pressure.
To secure that second machine, there's good earnings there for everyone, mate. If there's a up, well, there's only one person to blame, mate, and that's myself.
Adding to the pressure, boss John has turned up unannounced.
At the end of the day, as the boss say, he's quite entitled to be there.
I do notice that it puts everybody else on edge when he does come down. Is he going to be a grumpy ass or is he going to be pretty mellow?
It's nothing personal against the boys when I go out and supervise a job and make sure they're doing the right thing, but they're not signing the checks if something goes bad.
On the ground, John will be an extra pair of eyes for driver Dave, but he'll have to be on his A game.
Yeah, the rear one, sleeper.
Oh, they are now.
We've chosen the time between 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. to do this move, which is a bit nerve-wracking when it hasn't been done before and the car goes so wide.
The team has 6 hours to travel 68 kilometres. John's paid police to escort them along the motorway.
Copper's keen.
If they can get on the motorway.
How you going, mate?
Yeah, what's up?
You got about 3 minutes to clear all the shit off the road.
We can't, we're paving.
Mate, we've got 9 metres coming through. We've had permits in for 2 months.
Well, we can't because we've got a bloody asphalting here at the moment.
And the reason we put our permit applications in 30 days before we move is so that these morons do not set up roadworks on the night we want to move a 9 metre wide load. I bet you $5,000 you'll be able to get off the road once we turn up.
Can't do anything about it at the moment.
Dave, come down here, block the whole show up, we're going through.
On his solo mission, hauling an excavator almost 4,000 kilometres to Darwin, young gun Ryan has hit South Australia.
This trip is a big adventure. We're going across 2 states and a territory. Yeah, it is a big trip to embark on. I've been into trucks for as long as I can remember. I was never really much for a kid with school. I just thought, you know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll fucking quit school, I'll go and do what I love. Mum was in the truck with Dad when they had me. It wasn't even 3 months and I was in a truck, I think. Get away from him. My old man still drives up and down the high every day. We might even see the old man up in Darwin, actually.
Ryan loves mega trucking, but his recent marriage has made him reassess his priorities.
Before I was with my wife, I was working 7 days a week sort of thing, you know, in trucks, and I was loving it. I wanted more. But as you get fond of your loved ones and that, you know, you don't want to be at work as much. You still love it, but you want to spend time with them. We bought our first house together and I was away for that. When we got married, we planned the whole wedding when I was away. You are supposed to be home, but never can be.
But the young mega trucker has a job to do. And the buck stops with him.
There's a little bit of pressure onto this run, eh? Because if something goes wrong, well, it's all on my head, you know. I've authorised the load to be good to go. I've changed the load. I've loaded the load. I've said it's this length. I've said it's this height. At the end of the day, there's no other finger to point to but me. You know, I'm in charge of this whole operation.
Pressure aside, Ryan's run looks like a corker.
The best part of this job yard, pay to sightsee. Open road, just do my own thing, just cruise along, nice and easy.
By day 5, he's only 1,500 kilometres from Darwin, with 3 days to spare.
It's 10:30 in the morning and I see the weighbridge in front of me and I feel that the odds are against me.
Weighbridges ensure truckers haul their loads within strict guidelines. Fail, and Ryan could be fined, or worse, grounded for days, costing boss John tens of thousands of dollars.
Just on the weighbridge at Alice, still a long way to Darwin yet. When you've got to fall into the weighbridges, it's part and parcel. You've got to do what you've got to do it. Yeah, just hope everything's all good.
How'd we go?
Not good.
Not good?
So what I'll do is I'll just take all the pictures.
Yeah.
Just get the block on the side to bring all the paperwork in your license just to the office.
Don't know what's going on yet, and he's taking photos of it. And look at my licence in, so it can't be good.
Ryan is over his weight limit. He's about to find out how much.
I'm more concerned about just the axle weights at the moment.
So I try and lose 6 tonne.
Yep.
I'll make the phone call, mate, see what we come up with. Thank you. Yeah, we didn't go too well here.
Stranded in the middle of the country, Ryan calls HHA headquarters to deliver the bad news.
The best thing you try and do is try and resolve it yourself. And they wouldn't sort of come to the party, then you sort of turn to John and say, well, this is what's happened. And today's well and truly stuffed. So, anyway, see what happens. A miracle might fall from the sky.
On the giant gantry move, it's a motorway standoff. Unexpected roadworks block the mega truckers, and road workers are refusing to let them through. John and driver Dave have just 4 hours to haul this load 63 kilometres.
I pretty much said that you've got 2 choices. Choice 1 is we just lock the truck up, park the truck up and come back tomorrow night and leave it in the middle of the Centenary Highway, and we'll let you deal with the Premier and the Prime Minister tomorrow. Or get your shit out of the way and let us through, and we'll be a figment of your imagination in 5 seconds.
The timing has been great tonight because at the moment we're halfway between layers, so I can get you through. You know, like I'll work with you. I'm not here to f*** you around.
And lucky he went for option B. Good man.
Thanks, mate.
See ya. So much for can't come through.
John's probably doing it right as a rear pilot. He'd like to be up here in the chair tonight, but he can stay down there in the big Silverado and call it from down there.
To get this 8.7 metre wide gantry onto the motorway, they must negotiate this 7 metre wide ramp.
Left-hand side's looking good. Got about 3 metre on that pole. Hey, what we're going to do is actually hang the load out over the bridge railing by about 2 metres to get away from all these lights here on the passenger side.
Driver Dave needs all the eyes and ears on offer.
Just when you come in these islands here, Dave, you've got that first street light there in the medium strip, so just hang it out to your driver's side as much as you can.
You got 500 on that lamppost. You can come this way a little.
This is going to be about your tightest spot here with this pole here, Dave.
Coming.
The last thing that we want is this truck pulling out the barrier and me getting a bill from Main Roads for $30,000.
It looks like the boss has come in handy after all.
About a metre off the guardrail there on the left. You just have to watch it when you get in the motorway for the signs. Probably got about 300 to spare this side. Righto, clear the sign my side. That line here, Dave, I'm on the ground walking, mate, so you got about probably 300 mil on the left-hand side.
It's taken almost 3 hours, but finally they hit the motorway.
Having John on gives you that bit more of assurance. I can see what's going on up the front, but yeah, down the back, mate, I've got no idea what's going on down there. So having John's probably a good thing.
Well, Dave's kept himself pretty cool and collected. He hasn't gotten out of the truck tonight and threatened anyone with their life. So far, we haven't maimed anyone and haven't got any complaints yet, so we're doing all right.
In Alice Springs, Ryan has been grounded overnight after failing a weigh station test. The HHA team have organised help, someone who can reduce his load by 6 tonne.
Isn't too far away, I'm hoping. There he is, it is a fitter.
We were thrown into damage control. The bridge wouldn't let us pass unless we rectified the weight. And the only way to rectify the weight is lose weight. And the only way to lose weight is to take equipment off the machine. We did some calculations and decided the counterweight was the quickest and easiest way to remove.
Take up, mate. Oh, then better.
All that comes at a premium. And the cost for crane hire, for labour to pull it off, and then for the actual transport of the separate piece. That second truck travels with just a counterweight on it.
And the reason why Ryan's load was over? A typo on the permit.
With the level of compliance in this business, something as simple as a typo on a permit can cost you days on the side of the road. All in all, that cost there was just over $15,000. So that's basically hit me clean in the arse.
With the counterweight removed, Ryan wastes no time reloading the digger.
I worked out it was about 24 to 30 hours I was back on the road again. Lucky to us we had resources and we could get it done. Just goes to show anywhere in Australia we can always get something done. Thank you. No worries, man. See you next time, eh? Will do. Hope you're not done the second thing, anyway.
Even with the overnight delay, Ryan can still make his deadline in Darwin. But first, he hopes to make another appointment with someone very close to his heart. And somehow, they all seem connected.
A lot of my mates, trucker mates. It's a small world, you could say, I suppose, in a way.
How you going? Hey, Larry. How you going, all right? Good, yourself? Yeah, good, mate. Again? Yeah.
In the remote Northern Territory town of Larimer, population 11, Ryan hopes to catch up with his hero.
Where is that lazy bastard? He's usually here, wouldn't he?
He's a veteran trucker. He's also his dad.
He taught me most things like about trucks and that, how to drive and all that sort of stuff, so no, I've got a lot of respect for Dad, a lot of time for him. I don't reckon he's coming. I don't reckon he's coming. Sitting waiting for the old boy, and I'm thinking, where the frick is he, you know? Like, he said he was going to be here this time.
After 3 hours, Ryan gives up and heads for bed.
This bastard stitched me up.
But then, he hears a familiar-sounding truck.
Dad, there, you just pulled up. Oh, hello. Yeah, don't have to say much. Action speaks louder than words, I think. I enjoy catching up with him. I think he enjoys catching up with me too in the middle of the road, you know, a bit of a talk.
How's your leg? What happened? We won't go there.
We fell off the truck. Just nice to be around him sort of thing, you know. You don't have to say too much. Dad. A legend, apparently.
In Brisbane, Dave, Gary and John reach their destination, a tunnel construction site in the city's west. While they've beaten the curfew, there's another hurdle.
It's just typical of any job site you go to, mate. It's crazy, like, no one thinks how you're going to get this sort of equipment in and out of there. You're talking literally inches.
Just keep it nice and high up on your left-hand side, mate, please.
Driving, you're 110% switched on, and if you're not, jam your fingers in the door, mate. Yeah. You don't breathe a sigh of relief until it's out of our hands.
Good, pretty tight.
Finally, they make it. But this job's still not over.
Normally, they have the crane there waiting for us to unload, and unfortunately, no one's told them about us coming in tonight.
They've had week notice that this move was coming in, and no crane. What a bonus.
We've basically got to sit there and wait till they got some cranes available and some men available to unload us.
On the excavator move, Ryan finally makes Darwin.
Yeah, you feel very relieved, you know, you get up there and the job's been done with a few dilemmas that we've had, which could have been worse. You feel happy and proud you got laid there in one piece. You can cross that trip off your list, you know, sort of thing. If you've gone from Melbourne to Darwin in one hit.
Yeah, time for a beer tonight, I reckon.
The carrier's really good, actually. He was a good pilot. He done really well. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate his friendship anyway. He's good. Customer's happy, John's happy, I'm happy. Two happy make a third happy, match makes a home run.
Ryan would have had a lot of weight on his shoulders. Even though we've had a setback, we still made our deadline. Customer's still happy, so that's a good job.
All right, then.
After almost 4,000 kilometres and 8 days, Ryan tells his wife he's coming home. But she has news for him.
Love you, bye. Yeah, it was an interesting phone call. Just found out I'm going to be a father. Yeah. Well, that's a bit of a shell shock, isn't it? Yeah. Don't know what to say, actually. Cool. Can't get my tongue, I think, actually. I'm kind of excited now, yeah. That's good.
On the fish belly gantry move, it's 4 a.m. and there's still no sign of the crane drivers.
It's a very, very hard job running this business. Like, it's stressful, it's tiring, it's just, you know, some days you just think, what am I doing?
Finally, they arrive, and this monster load can be delivered safe and sound.
I definitely think it was the right thing to go in and supervise Dave and give him a hand. I think it gave Dave a lot more confidence having me on the ground. It's Dave and myself done a lot of big moves together, and we can solve the impossible when we put our minds to it. Oh, good job.
Cool, thank you. It was a good help instead of a hindrance, mate, yeah. Even got a handshake at the end of the night, which is unusual.
I've known John now for a lot of years, mate, and he absolutely thrives on making this joint work. You know, it's a massive sacrifice probably to pump in the hours that he does here, and that's how he is.
I'll get another strap. We'll strap him to the trailer.
There's another 4 fish bellies to this TBM. I'm confident that he can do them unsupervised, so I can stay home and let Dave do what he does. That's move big stuff.
Heavy Haulage Australia comes to the rescue.
Dave and I both had concerns.
Have you got longer beams?
It's a good job I came down here today because we've got some serious problems.
And lands in hot water.
If that happens, it'll electrocute Dave. As they say, one flash and you're ash.
John's $6 million gamble.
Check this shit out.
Could backfire.
I think people would love to see him up or go down in a ball of flames.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
A mega contract hangs in the balance.
Oh, there we go. Trip hazard. We don't get tier 1, everyone loses.
But is the strain worth it?
I'd say she's under about $100 million worth of pressure.
It's a big day. Really need it just to go well.
I've seen some major heavy haulage accidents where people have cut corners because they don't have the equipment or they're not charging the right money because they can't do the job properly. On the gate of our premises is complacency ruins perfection. It's all about being diligent, measuring your loads and being paranoid about the fact you can't fit here, you can't fit there. The minute you're not paranoid when you're moving something big is the minute something will go wrong.
Over the next few days, a double safety test could make or break Boss John Kelly's empire. The first starts at a Brisbane shipyard.
Are these all the same size?
No, I'm sure that one's bigger.
All this work is a big risk. It's a gamble you take every day of the week.
Today's mission is to haul this giant catamaran just 1.5 kilometres.
This job's a bit different to a normal job. Another transport company has basically let the customer down. They've came on board thinking they're going to conquer the world and don't have the equipment or the blokes to do it.
Got a phone call 2 or 3 days ago from Boyd, who used to be the main operations manager here, in a crisis, saying his company truck isn't back and he couldn't get the permits organised and needed a bit of a hand. I'm happy to send the boys out and do a challenging job and show why we are the best.
10 metres wide and 4 stories high, this catamaran is a 40-tonne nightmare. The plan is to build a cradle using concrete blocks and steel girders. The giant ferry slots on top for the trip to a dock. It's not a long move, but it'll be a challenge for the MegaTruckers.
I'm not real keen on the concrete block idea, but that's what the customers provided, so we'll run with that. Right, down. I need these blocks perfect, otherwise the beams won't line up.
John and his backroom team usually produce loading plans, but these drawings, blocks and beams are from the client.
The blocks were just normal concrete. We don't know whether they're reinforced. And the minute you get something that cracks under load, well, it's a big job to change that.
What's wrong, Lonnie?
We're just having a quick little measurement.
The alarm bells are starting to go off saying that it's not as per the drawing. Like, someone's asking you to do something, giving you the tools and saying, here's the pieces of the puzzle, put them together, and there's pieces missing. It just doesn't add up.
At the depot, Boss John has a very special delivery.
Everyone who knows anything about cars knows a Rolls-Royce. Well, a Goldhofer trailer is the Rolls-Royce of trailers.
With a staggering 54 axles and 432 wheels, it's one of the biggest trailers in the world.
My wife Joanne was going through my emails and come across the invoice for the trailer. She printed it out and come in to see me and said, John, surely this is a typo. You haven't bought a trailer for $6.5 million, have you? And I said, it'll be all right, sweetie, don't worry.
But the cost doesn't end there. Each tyre and chrome rim is another $1,000, adding almost $500,000 to the cost.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
John gambled on the German trailer, believing he'd secured a $97 million job.
This upcoming contract is a big deal. Although we thought we had this massive job in the bag, it's not the case. There's a few significant hurdles we need to jump.
First is a rigorous safety inspection. Passing will be a game changer for Heavy Haulage Australia. It's consultant Jackie's job to make sure they don't fail.
The audit that's happening later this week is probably going to be the most important piece of work that I've done. That's for the next training induction for HHA drivers. Yep. Terrific. Thanks.
Jackie Baker, who does all our safety compliance, she normally works here 2 to 3 days a week. And when we found out about this safety audit, she's been here 5 to 6 days a week for the last 3 or 4 months.
I don't really believe at that very first day I had any idea of what was ahead of me. So this little pile of equipment here is what I'm really concerned about. We've got 54 batteries, battery acid, no good for the environment. If the client decides to do the top yard as part of their audit, that will take us down. Spare tyres that were not going to be used, that were just sitting around, or a fire hazard as well, that will take us down. And these tyres...
They're going, yes.
Well,
so we're taking a photo of them.
They'll get a Tier 1 classification, which means that it's going to be the top line that they can get with this particular mega client of theirs. I get one opportunity. I'm probably more nervous about this than I would normally be.
You can be the best of the best, you can have the shiniest trucks, but if you don't get the safety rating and you don't get the golden tick, you won't be carting any freight whatsoever for this project. So that Goldhofer will sit over in the corner of the yard for the next 2 years and we'll struggle. It all comes down to this one day.
On the catamaran move, everything's going to plan. Trouble is, no one trusts the plan.
The only thing that ever worries you when you go to a job is, like, everything's done on a computer, but you've got to see it. You've got to see the job.
Driver Dave discovers the beams are too short.
What was submitted on the plan and then what we actually measured to move this thing was just two totally different scenarios.
Overhang. On the drawing, this is what I mean, mate. Oh, there's no overhang.
Have you got longer beams? No?
We loaded it as per the customer's specifications. Their blocks, their beams. Dave and I both had concerns. The drawing shows the beam to have overhang past the trailer. Once again, you can see that it's a metre short of the trailer.
Well, that's not even touching on that block anyway.
So the blocks are in the right place, it's the beams are incorrect.
Something that they've measured isn't quite right now.
If the beams aren't long enough, the 40-tonne catamaran could topple off the trailer. Despite his concerns, Dave decides to push on.
Dave did it as per the customer's specifications. I personally wouldn't have kept going.
The industry's fairly vicious that if you f*** up, I mean, within the first 2 seconds, someone's blabbed and everyone knows. I've got an unblemished record. I plan to keep it that way.
You know, I don't want to tarnish my name or John's name.
He was so worried about safety, he called Boss John for help.
He rang me very, very concerned about the structural integrity of the beams and the blocks. His words were he wouldn't put his carport up with the beams they supplied, so why would I put a $10 million boat on them? It's a good job I came down here today because we've got some serious problems that we need to address straight away. I cannot believe that they're using like dead set 50-cent beams. I'd sooner see our beams up the top there than these shit ones.
Well, how quick can we get them down here?
I know there's one in the driveway there.
Yeah, there's, and the other 3 must be up the backyard.
I think Brad put that in the way strategically so he's got some challenge to back in the yard.
Correct.
At least with our beams, we've got chaining points on them, and you can put a dog underneath them and, like, dog down this way, dog down that way.
About 300, aren't they?
310.
310.
The chances are that beams could have failed. If a beam failed, that boat's coming off here quicker than Jack Flash. If it could tear down power lines or power poles, and that damage can be into the millions. And everyone will be laughing at you for the next 20 years.
The catamaran was to be moved by a rival company. But when they realised they couldn't do the job, they turned to John.
When shit turns bad, you know, for other transport companies or other customers, HHA and I suppose myself personally has been the go-to guy. People know when they ring us, the job will get done.
John's had enough of standing around. With 2 more big-dollar catamaran moves in the offing, he strikes.
I'll go show this bloke a proper one.
The client just happened to be walking past. As John seen the client come there, he just beelined towards him and he was about to tell him how good we are and what we got to offer for him.
John, I'm Angus.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
John Kelly, here you go. This is how we move a boat properly. This is the last one we did for the shipyard here. So we got these big heavy lift stands and they're like rated at 250 tonne each. And we can keep stacking these. That's the idea of them because they're boltable. So if we could find out what potentially you know, your main load bearing points are.
Yeah. And this is, we did start off with this in mind as well.
Side there as well. John was out for the kill. He had the more muscle, he had the bigger legs, and he was just going in and he was just going to run over at any cost.
I was just fortunate enough to brand one of our lovely brochures and show him on how we move other catamarans. If he manages to read the phone number on the back of the brochure and dial our number next time he needs a catamaran move, we might just happen to have a trailer and a truck available to give him a hand. So isn't that a terrible thing?
The sweet talking pays off. The client agrees to use John's steel beams.
Well, the A-team's here now.
With all eyes now on the MegaTruckers, it's time to deliver.
We're going to lose a couple of hours resetting up and around this morning, but you don't want it falling off the trailer halfway out the driveway. There's a lot of jealousy, you know, John having what he's got and where he is, and I think people would love to see him up or go down in a ball of flames.
There was 1 million people there, and the thought that just goes through your head is just can't go wrong.
At the depot, a $100 million contract is in the balance. Consultant Jackie must whip the MegaTruckers into shape for a safety audit. First step, painted walkways.
It's going to be something, again, visually that the boys are going to have to learn just to keep an eye out.
Not that the drivers notice.
Bevan? Is this your baby or is this Pug? And it's a bit hard if we've got a big truck parked right over it. Thank you.
Years ago, you used to get away with anything, but not anymore. But there again is, I think it can go overboard as well.
Get it done, Jackie.
Pardon me?
Get it done.
Oh, they all like to have a bit of fun at the safety girl, telling them what to do all the time, but as long as they go home at the end of every day, then I'm doing my job.
Jackie was the Lone Ranger on her own quest. I know the guys didn't really give her much help.
I sent you that email and they want all that stuff.
Right.
No, none of it.
Okay, because that was the stuff that you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you haven't done it.
No.
So, are they asking for it?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Rightio. They know how this works. John Kelly gets tier 1. We get work. We get paid. We get a job for the next couple of years. We don't get tier 1. Well, everyone loses, not just John and me, but all of us.
Is Jackie under pressure? I'd say she's under about $100 million worth of pressure.
At the shipyard, Boss John's safety reputation and pride goes on the line. He's got his own steel beams on the trailer and the pressure's now on driver Dave.
To line all that up and get that right is absolutely critical.
When you're back underneath it, you only got about 50 mil either side of the steel beam, so it's quite easy to punch a hole in the bottom of the boat.
Glenn and I are on the ground with radios, and it's our call to say go, stop, a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right.
If we did touch it, that we could have sent a beam or a block arse overhead off the trailer.
Got plenty of room over there, Glenn?
Catch him up, mate.
After 3 attempts, Dave nails it.
We f***ed around there for a good couple of hours trying to get it right, but we got it.
Up on the bum.
You know, centre of gravity was perfect on the gauges on the trailer there on the day, so, you know, loading-wise, it couldn't have gone probably any better.
There's no marks on the hull of the boat, so we're quite successful there. So we'll just literally pick the boat up, put a bit of clearance between it and Mother Earth, and that's where it'll be to get going.
The next challenge is to stop the catamaran touching power lines.
If that happens, it'll weld that trailer to the boat, blow every tyre on the trailer, and potentially electrocute Dave. As they say, one flash and you're ash.
Plain glasses.
Just 24 hours before the audit, Safety Officer Jackie is on edge. $100 million contract is on the line.
I didn't have a formal audit checklist to work off. I just had to be ready for everything. This is, oh, there we go, trip hazard. And that's how easy it is to fix. It's like, pick it up, put it over there.
She's very, very good at a job, but she tends to take it personally when things go wrong.
Yeah, I'm stressed. Of course I'm stressed. It matters. This really matters.
The depot workers finally get stuck in.
One big job out of the way.
We are just fixing this door that broke off. Rough roads, dirt, you name it.
Do your shoelace up.
I'm doing it right now, you get that on.
Then Jackie discovers a major problem.
The mezzanine area should have safety railings. We had to get 3 companies to come in and quote. We've picked the company that we want to work with, and he's going on annual leave. It's inherently unsafe without a railing, so I want that bit to be okay on the day. I just want tomorrow to come. Yeah, I want it to be 12 o'clock on Thursday now.
You know, Jack, I've only got one person flying.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to take care of you. We work so hard. I certainly know it's going to be a hugely important day for John Kelly, so I feel that. I feel the weight of that. So, yeah. Yeah, I really need it just to go well. It's a big day. Ah, shit. Woo!
It's 5 a.m. on the catamaran move, and the MegaTruckers have a problem. Power lines block the exit.
I was under the assumption, which we discussed with the Energex workers, that these wires were going to be dropped down. And these guys are telling us, no, we'll be able to lift them. I don't believe they will. Dealing with 11 kVA wires that we are, it's extremely dangerous. The risk of death is great.
Who's looking at maintaining clearance up there?
Alec.
You trust him?
What they're going to do is, if there's any problem, Brad will be on this side, he'll call out stop, stop,
yeah,
and we'll do the same.
Right.
Let's do it.
How are we going to go on the Energex truck there? We're going to have enough clearance?
The wires can't go higher, and John is running out of options.
A simple man would lower his trailer and move straight out, but the keel of the boat is too close to the pavement, so we can't lower the trailer. So we're in a rock and a hard place where we've got minuscule clearance.
We were down to literally 5 to 10 millimetres of clearance between the vessel and the road.
Look out for tail swing climates like that.
If you don't lower it, you'll snag the power lines. If you let the trailer down too far, well, the boat will actually hit the road and stop, and the truck and the trailer won't.
Stop, Dave, please stop. I can see those power lines up there moving up top. Is someone up there watching the power lines? Are they energised still?
They're hot.
They're hot?
I just wanted 9 o'clock to come. That's all I wanted. It couldn't come quickly enough. Yeah, last minute tidy up. My brain was going at 100 miles an hour. I hope all those fumes don't go into the boardroom. We've got a big fan we can turn on. Nothing like carbon monoxide in the morning, I say.
I saw Jackie come in this morning. I was worried about tapping her on the shoulder and copping a left hook.
I put the kettle on, made a coffee, and I just waited.
In a few moments, a major safety audit will start. Fail, and Boss John loses a $100 million contract. The question is, will the inspectors spot the missing safety rail?
I'm a little bit concerned about whether or not the auditors are going to accept the temporary stanchions and chain.
Nice to see you. How are you, Paul? Welcome.
We did a walk around the full yard outside, and everything was schmick. There was no note-taking, no conversation, really, other than just social chit-chat.
A good start. But then John bizarrely breaks open his new toy.
Every kid and every grown man loves a remote-controlled car or a remote-controlled truck. This is the ultimate remote-controlled toy.
Jackie doesn't share his joy.
Heavy Haulage Australia has paid a lot of money to me as a consultancy team to come in and support this business.
I was probably more so playing with the gold hopper to distract myself. I said to the boys it'd be quite funny if the gold hopper went haywire and ran into the building while they're in the boardroom having the audit. Hello, John Kelly. And the only thing I'm worried about is my phone rings and the trailer takes off into the distance somewhere, wipes out a building. That would not be nice, trying to explain why we've got a 100-tonne trailer wedged in the front of our building while they're falling out of the boardroom.
John Kelly has got really, really big balls as far as I'm concerned, but I was loath to say anything given that I was with auditors.
Check this shit out.
On the catamaran move, if driver Dave hits these high-voltage power lines, he could be killed.
I can see those power lines up there f***ing moving up top. Are they energised still?
They're hot.
They're hot?
Yeah, they are.
You basically freeze. You do not touch the cab door. You just sit in the seat and don't move.
We need to maintain 0.7 of a metre clearance off the catamaran and the power lines. If we encroach on that distance, there's a very, very high chance that 22,000 volts of electricity will arc itself on the actual catamaran. If that happens, it'll weld that trailer to the boat, blow every tyre on the trailer and potentially electrocute Dave.
To see those power lines move, mate, when you're under them, you think you've jagged something.
It's more than it looks. When I was up there, even from far away, I reckon you probably still got more air witnesses clearance there.
It looked a bit narrow from where we were standing, but it's a bit of an optical illusion. They eyeballed it and reckon they measured it and they said we had 800.
You right?
Yeah, I'm good here. Yeah, all the power lines all good now, so we've lowered it down. They've gotten a bit of extra height. Just square up, Dave, please. Yeah, I reckon that's a perfect setup for this camber. It's riding good.
Speed that we're doing, that 1.5 kilometres that we only had to move that bait, it seems like about 150 kilometres.
Down on the left-hand side a little bit, just slowly.
Arrived on the docks, unscratched and unscathed, and it's a really good feeling. I love it. Bradley loves it, Dave loves it, all the boys here love doing what they're doing. It's just great to be part of it. Just can't wait for the next big move.
Job done. A happy customer. And John doesn't miss a trick.
The boys are saying that this next one's going to be a bit tricky with its location, so we've got a self-propelled trailer, which would be very, very handy bit of kit to do that. And we'll see what happens on the next move, whether we get a call up to do it 100% properly. Have a good weekend. Yeah, no, definitely. That catamaran move was definitely a boundary-pushing job. When someone says I can move 500 tonne, I'll go, oh, can we move 600? When someone says I can move 2,000, and I'll go, how about moving 3,000? It's just one of those things. It's a disease.
Back at the depot, the safety inspection takes a turn for the worse.
As soon as her eyes went up to the mezzanine and she saw that it was a temporary guard that we'd put up, my heart rate's already going.
Okay, and if they had to take goods up or down, how would that go up?
Fork only.
Fork only, yeah, there's only goods go.
I had all the paperwork upstairs in the boardroom to show her. Safety railings are all up. Yeah. I hope it's enough.
The auditors leave without revealing their verdict.
I had no idea where everything had left us. I just had the courage to look at the lead auditor and I said, I'm just busting to know whether we've made Tier 1. She looked at me and she gave me the best grin I have ever seen. And she said, you're Tier 1.
Jackie was just on cloud 9. She fought that war all by herself.
One.
And to her credit, she pulled it off. We'll be talking about that for the next 20 or 30 years, you know, about how Jackie was sweating bullets when I'm out here driving the trailer around in the Wash Bay having a ball.
Yeah. Wow. Like those big waves that you see the guys surfing, the giant things that you think, nobody's going to survive that. You're not going to come out of that. And that's probably where I was for 6 months. I got spat out safely at the end of it all. We did it. Tier 1, not 3. 1. 888.
Last week has been a very, very stressful time because there's a lot of risk when you go buy a $6.5 million trailer and it's potentially sitting in a yard with no earnings. It's an awesome feeling to know that we've just converted the goal that will change this business for the rest of its history.
I told you not to worry, you silly chook. Nothing to worry about. Believe in your system.
You're gorgeous. So positive.